I think this whole proposal of passing such laws is absolutely against the constitutional vision and is against the civil liberty and jurisprudence and is nothing more than a diversionary technique by governments who are not performing their primary duty. This whole narrative was initially created in 1920s. It has been 100 years. We are trying to once again propagate something which does not exist. It is an entirely false narrative. People of different faith fall in love with each other as love is blind. It doesn't see religion and race and caste, etc. And two, we are trying to take away freedom and autonomy which Constitution has given to two individuals to decide what kind of life partner they want. This year itself, the central government informed Parliament that they neither have a definition of love jihad nor any intelligence agency of the center has informed them about such a tendency. According to me, the problem doesn't exist. In any way, when you have more pressing issues in an unprecedented year due to COVID-19, any government which treats this law as a priority, I think it has some problem with their vision of governance. Other than diversionary technique that you don't want people to discuss and understand more pressing issues of unemployment, issues of public health, this law will not achieve anything. Over the years, we have seen that there has not been any significant number of convictions under these laws. I am not aware of any conviction. Two, that these laws have completely failed. Three, now you are going to enhance punishment for these laws. I was just looking at the UP law, which provides for 10 years punishment. You know, you have 10 years punishment for robbery, for dacoity, for miscarriage without women's consent, for kidnapping in order to murder. So for conspiracy, for waging war against Government of India and collection of arms, for abating mutiny against Government of India. Marrying someone, is that serious an offense? I think there is something seriously wrong with the legal advisors. Marriage, divorce are purely private matters. Criminalization of triple divorce, I had written for Indian Express, was a textbook example of over-criminalization. Similarly, this 10 years punishment and passing of and promulgating this law as an ordinance, as if heavens are going to fall, I think is absolutely unnecessary. Marriage and divorce are purely personal matters, private matters. Civil law is enough to deal with them. I just told you that if somebody indulges in marriage by concealing his identity, his religion, the marriage can be nullified by the other party. So when you have adequate and sufficient remedies under civil law, you need not invoke criminal remedies. So there is more of a politics in promulgation of this ordinance. You know, this power to promulgate ordinance has been given to you when there is a pressing emergency. Otherwise, if you want to come up with a law, pass such a law when assembly is in session or parliament is in session. I consider it to be a misuse of ordinance making power because there is no immediate emergency. UP government's own SIT in Kanpur has investigated number of alleged cases of love jihad and did not find any systematic conspiracy or concerted effort by people through an agreement to do something like this. It is more like a propaganda, a false narrative being created to polarize the society, and that's all. And what worries me more, that in this entire process, we are compromising agency of women. We think that they are not capable of taking their decisions. And therefore, we are trying to discipline them through love jihad, that they will not have a choice. They won't be able to make right choice. They can be allured, and they can be induced, and they can be coerced, and they will not know what is best for them. I think women should in particular oppose this kind of law, because it undermines their autonomy, their freedom, and their agency, and it violates their sexuality, their freedom to choose their partners. Indian Constitution in Article 21 guarantees right to life and personal liberty. Supreme Court has been consistently saying that right to life and personal liberty does not mean mere animal existence. It includes right to live with human dignity. And then a 9-judge bench of the Supreme Court has now said that right to privacy is an integral part of right to life and personal liberty. And therefore, every individual, irrespective of his religion, is free to make his choices. So one has the autonomy to decide what food he wants or she wants to eat, what dress he or she want to put on, and whom they want to marry or live in. So any law which curtails this freedom is clearly in the teeth of Article 21. Similarly, conversion. To say that conversion is forced conversion or inducement, you make, as UP ordinance says, that you make an application 2 months prior to your conversion to the district magistrate, who will make inquiries to find out whether you were blackmailed or whether it was through deceit or fraud or inducement that you are planning to convert. I think this is absolutely unnecessary. Religion being a purely private, personal matter, state has nothing to do with religion. But very strangely, if you look at a statement of object and reasons and the government of UP's statement, they refer to a single judge judgment of Allahabad High Court, which said that you cannot convert just to marry another person. Now a double bench, a divisional bench of Allahabad High Court few days back overruled that judgment. So you have a divisional bench judgment of your own High Court, yet you are going ahead with such a law. You have a Supreme Court judgment in Hadia's case, where the question was about her marriage being invalidated by the Kerala High Court, even though no High Court or Supreme Court has a power to invalidate marriage of two adults. Yet High Court did it, and Supreme Court overruled High Court judgment and said it is for Hadia to decide what kind of life she wants to lead.